So we are live here right from the R. Premadasa Stadium in Colombo. I have Suvain Chakraborty joined by Debashish Sen, and in the studio we have Joydeep Mukherjee, cricketer, now commentator. So Joydeep, the Tilak Verma making his ODI debut is the latest we are getting from here. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think so. I think this is a perfect game to get somebody like him. He's done really well to the lead up to his debut. And you often don't get games like this in international cricket when it's sort of, for lack of a better word, it's an inconsequential game. So you would really want to
Right.
test something like him. It's an international game, and yet it's not one of great importance. So I think it's a great move that you're getting all your players into some really important match simulation, get them into play matches and see how good they are.
Absolutely. So Debashish, the team we are getting from the Indian camp is that Rohit Sharma, Shubman Gill, Surya Kumar Yadav is playing this game. Tilak Verma, of course, his debut. KL Rahul, Ishan Kishan, Ravindra Jadeja, Akshar Patel, Shardul Thakur, Mohammad Shami, Prasidh Krishna is also playing. So no Hardik Pandya, no Mohammad Siraj, no Kuldeep Yadav, no Jasprit Bumrah, no Virat Kohli, and Shreyas Iyer is feeling better, but he's still not fully match fit. Thoughts on so many changes in this playing 11?
Was expected, it was on the expected line because it's an inconsequential manner, you rightly said. So nothing harm in trying all your players, all your reserve players.
Your thoughts on this squad, Joydipda?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty expected one because there's a lot of cricket that's been going on, a lot of cricket that is to be played. So workload management will be something that is on the minds of the people that matter in Indian cricket, and rightly so. If these people have got a bit of a break, they've got a bit of a break because they played matches 3 days in a row. We know the rain truncated. They came back the next day and bowled 50 overs in 2 days. A lot of people say we bowl 90 overs in Test match cricket. But there's a different template to Test match cricket. There's a different template to one-day cricket. Bowling 50 overs in one-day cricket takes a lot out of you. So that way they played 250 over. They fielded for 250 overs, 2 days on the trot. So I think just to give everybody some game time is very, very important. If you look at the most successful teams in the world, not just cricket, in football and other sport, you want your whole squad to be ready. And that's what this move is all about.
And India has opted to field first, so good decision, a testing decision, a different decision.
Yeah, obviously they would be chasing now because they have already batted once last in the tournament and they have posted almost as big as total as 356. So they are it's a good thing to try out a few options for us. Chasing a total, if you require to chase a big total in the final against Sri Lanka. So actually it's a good decision to bat second.
And for Bangladesh, Tanzim Hassan is making his ODI debut today. Of course, Bangladesh are out of the race. India and Sri Lanka have already qualified for the final. So this result this match is all about testing the players ahead of the World Cup. Joydeep, a perfect game for all the French players and a perfect game for them to gain some confidence heading into the Australia series before the World Cup.
Absolutely. And I like the fact that India has decided to field first for the simple reason that let the bowlers try and contain the Bangladesh batting. The batters have done well in this tournament. Let the bowlers, the fast bowlers especially, I know Kuldeep and Jadeja have done well. Hardik has had a superb tournament, but let the others also come into the party. That's what you want because not only is there the Asia Cup final, there's a World Cup to be played in not too far away from now. There's an Australia series that beckons. So everything put together, the workload management does become a huge issue. And you don't want any of your main players to play this match, then play the Asia Cup final, then play against Australia, and then, come up with injury during the World Cup. So this is a good move, and it's good for everybody to get some game time. Very, very important. You cannot replicate this. You cannot replicate international cricket with whatever you do. The only way is to go out and play the matches.
Just to give all the fans, the weather is pretty much clear. It's sunny. It's hot out
Where are
here.
your sunglasses then?
Sorry.
Where are your sunglasses then?
My sunglasses are here. Just we are standing in the shadow, so I haven't put it on yet.
Every time you put those sunglasses on, it's rain. So please keep it away.
Yes, absolutely. That's why we all want to see a big game, a full game, so that all these players get the best chance to perform and have a good time out there on the field. But outside the stadium, Joyda, of course, we have seen this India Bangladesh rivalry grown over the recent years. But but the atmosphere is pretty cold. Maybe because this is an inconsequential game, as you said. Maybe because Bangladesh are out. As Devashish was telling me during the Nizam Trophy final, this RK Madasa Stadium was absolutely jam packed. Unlike today, it's very cold, it's very dull out here. Expected.
Absolutely expected because not much interest generated from this match, and there aren't many Bangladeshi fans in Colombo. There are quite a few Indian fans, but Bangladeshi fans is very hard to find.
Absolutely. In the last few matches, yeah.
Been in Sri Lanka with the team all through. How was the mood at practice yesterday? Was it more of a relaxed one or was it a really full on proper one? Because sometimes with a game like this, you can sometimes feel the body language slightly relaxed. Was this as important as any game?
Only five players. It was an optional training session, and only five players turned up for the practice session. Shreyas Iyer was one. He took some throwdowns. He batted for a while, but it was pretty relaxed. Not many players. Tilak Verma came and batted for a while. Surya Kumar Yadav, whose birthday was yesterday, he also turned up for practice. Maybe because they were informed prior that they will be playing this game, and so they wanted to have some time out there at the next. And then apart from that, Shardul Thakur and Ravindra Jadeja also turned up and had some time at the nets. But it was they know it's time to rest. It's time to get proper rest and get ready for that big game against Sri Lanka, which by the way is going to be a pressure match. The way Sri Lanka are playing, they have turned up the heat this tournament and are putting some excellent performances despite so many injuries in that camp. Joyda, are you impressed by this Sri Lankan team? How they are playing in this tournament despite so many injuries in that camp?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, a lot of people didn't give them much of a chance to be in the final. And the way they have played all through the tournament, they're sort of the quiet people, nobody noticing much. And I'm talking about from India. I know in Sri Lanka, everybody's going really gung ho over the way they are playing. But in India, everybody was so much into India, Pakistan, India, Pakistan. Ultimately, it's the Sri Lanka final. That's how good they've been. And they've played 30 finals. They've played more finals in the Asia Cup than anybody else has. So there are no pushovers. And there was a time when in India, Sri Lanka used to be the favorites. Back in the day with the Sanat Jayasurya's and the Kalavitarangas, they were lethal. So I'm very happy that the resurgence has started again. They need it. They're a very good cricket playing nation. They're a small country. There are challenges, but it seems they're turning the corner.
And talking about Bangladesh, Shakib Al Hasan again going to be the key, especially in this slow turning track at the Alpe Madasa.
Sorry, can you say that again, please?
Shakib Al Hasan being their crucial bowler and of course the batter as well. He's going to. I'm just asking him, is he going to be the key player for Bangladesh
Always.
to restrict India
Always.
to a modest total?
Any all-rounder in the team will always be the most crucial player because he has got two chances, two skill sets to prove himself. So when a Hardik Pandya
Right.
plays in the team, he will have his chance of scoring runs and he'll have his chance of getting wickets. So anytime there's a proper all-rounder, Ravindra Jadeja, Akshar Patel, when you have these sort of players, they become vital because they're in the game for the whole 100 overs. Whereas the Rohit Sharma is
Right.
really in the game for the first 50 overs when he's batting and he'll do his bit with the field. So when you have all-rounders, especially of the caliber of Shakib, then you always have somebody like him. And he 2020 is not his strongest version. 50 overs is. We saw what he did in the 2019 World Cup. We were all talking about Rohit Sharma, but he was brilliant as well. So he will hold his own, and this is his as well.
Of course, to give the playing 11 of the Bangladesh squad, Shakib Al Hasan, Liton Das is there, Tanzim Hassan is making his debut. Then Tawhid Hridoy is there, Rahul Haq is also playing, Shamim Hassan, Mehdi Hassan, Shak Mehdi Hassan, and Taskin Ahmad, I guess, is not playing in this match because he has not been marked. Mustafizur Rahman Fizz returns to the playing 11. Nasoom Ahmad and Tanzim Hassan Shakib is playing. Of course, clearly India favorites, and they would be going all out and try to put up a dominating performance against this Bangladeshi unit.
Actually, that is what we want. And so, the final, taking that momentum going to see Sri Lanka saying it's going to score no pushovers, and we are a good side. And we are your great for India in the final. The only concern is that obviously when you make too many changes, means at the start before the final, obviously tomorrow being the only day, I definitely guess that they won't get good practice session. They will be not fully practice session. So maybe you have 2 days of rest. Means the players who are not playing, they will have 2 days of rest, and they straight away go into the final. So I think so. It was good. It would have been nice to get the momentum going. So as Sunil Gavaskar time and again say, when you score runs, you score because it is all about confidence. You take the momentum going into a big final. So that is perhaps the Indian team management has other thoughts. Maybe perhaps it was a right thing to try out some fringe players, obviously who are in the World Cup squad, especially the likes of Shami, who has only played one single match. So you need Shami in full rhythm in the World Cup, and also the three matches for the final. So Shiraj, one can understand because they have been playing all the matches in the tournament so far. So they needed a race. But as far as the batsmen are concerned, I would have definitely thought about getting all of them because they are in form. All, be it a Rohit Sharma or a Shubman Gill or a Virat Kohli or a KL Rahul, everyone was were going great guns, and all you wanted to carry this momentum into the final.
Joining the two strange calls, of course, Prasidh Krishna and Tilak Verma not in that ODI World Cup squad. So a good decision to make them play in this match.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. And I agree with Debashish. I think what Sunil Gavaskar says is that the best way to stay in form is to keep playing. But then again, back in the day, they didn't play as many matches. Now there are a lot of matches. So, and also intensity of the matches has gone up a lot. I mean, if you look at the 50 over game in the 70s, cut to the 80s, cut to the 90s, cut to the 2000s, cut to now, it's
Okay.
change in the intensity of every game. Have come across players who after playing 20 overs feel drained. They feel into 100 overs. That's the intensity of those 20 overs. So I understand the fact that there are two things here. One is the load management, and second is also how to try the new players. Because only 11 can play. So if you give somebody a break, yes, Virat is in great form, Rohit is in great form. Now, how else will you get everybody in the mix? And the only way to get everybody in the mix is to rotate players. And I agree with Sunil Gavaskar and Devashish completely. But you have to sometimes see it from the other point of view and see if I was the coach of the Indian team, if I had to play every player, what could I do? This is the only option, isn't it?
Right, right. Valid points made. Valid points made. But from that Bangladesh camp, there are of course very talented players in that unit. Mustafizur, the experienced bowler, is there, but Taskin Ahmed is again missing from the playing 11. Maybe they want to rest him before the ODI World Cup, not rest him in this inconsequential game. But any key player, do you think Bangladesh can really push India like Sri Lanka did? Sri Lanka, of course, playing in their home ground, but Bangladesh also know these conditions very well. Most of their players play in the Lanka Premier League and they know their conditions well. Any chance they make this case harder for the Indian team in this match?
Yeah, I think so. I think they have what it takes to trouble India. They've beaten India comprehensively in many one-day internationals. So we have to take into consideration. But I'm a little disappointed with the way Bangladesh is played in this tournament. I thought that they will be really up there. They've disappointed with their form, with the they've played in the subcontinent. They are very, very good. Sometimes they struggle outside the subcontinent because their skill set is, their strengths and weaknesses are sort of, built around the subcontinent. In Sri Lanka, I was hoping they will give a few teams a run for their money. Hasn't happened for them. That's how this game goes. But they can hurt
Mhm.
India. They have nothing to lose. India has nothing to lose either. But when they have nothing to lose, they know that one win against India will make their journey back home a lot better.
Players to watch out from both the camps and why?
Once again, it boils down to say, the batters. I'm just looking forward for Shubman Gill because obviously he's a batsman in form and the start he is giving augurs well for India, and especially with him and Rohit Sharma has been phenomenal in this tournament so far. So all you want from India is to, and if you for a 50 over format, you need a good start. If you can get a good start, if you can set a platform for the stroke players who to follow, then half of the job is done. And as was the case in the game against Pakistan, obviously it was a belter. It was a belter of a wicket. But having said that, obviously the key for India will be to win this match. That is the bottom line. You cannot afford to lose against Bangladesh. Obviously, having said that, Bangladesh are no more than they are a decent side. They are a force to reckon with in the subcontinent. But still, when you go head into the final, you need that winning momentum going. You can't afford to lose in somewhat way.
Joyda, your players to watch out from both the camps and why?
See, I agree with Devashish there. Yeah, I think India wants to win this game. They want to keep the momentum going. But I also want, a good game. I think for Bangladesh, they put up a really good performance and see whether that's good enough for them to win the game or not. I want India to be tested as well. And as far as the key players are concerned, I always feel somebody like a Prasidh Krishna, I hold him in very high because I've seen him both from close. I was with him as a junior in 2008, KKR first, and I think he really holds a heavy ball. He can swing it. I hope he has a good game. But I always have people like a KL and Surya. For me, KL, I've said it on shows before. I keep harping about how good he is. We saw the other day how good he is, and where class just oozes. And form is temporary, class is permanent, they always say. As far as Bangladesh is concerned, Saqib Al Hasan, I'm hoping the fast bowlers can do a job. They've been quiet, they've taken a bit of grounding. If you want to get into this Indian team middle order, you have to get them at 70 for 3, 70 for 4. Then you have a chance. If they're 70 for 1, you're looking at 350.
Right, and yesterday when Sri Lanka won that game against Pakistan, an absolute humdinger, it switched like a pendulum. It was absolutely buzzing here at Artemadasa Stadium. But how was the mood there at Office, Joyda? We
Sorry?
again missed out on India Pakistan. We again missed out on India Pakistan final. Asia Cup has not produced a single India versus Pakistan. How was the atmosphere in the office? Because here at Artemadasa Stadium, it was buzzing. The locals are absolutely buzzing.
Yeah, no, in the office, right now the way India is playing, it doesn't matter. We've got some nice food, drinks, everything is on the house. So it doesn't matter who's playing. Yes, in India, Pakistan, there's more drink. But actually, yeah, they deserve to be here. They beat Pakistan. They've been the second best team in the tournament. Pakistan wasn't as well. They were the best. And that's something they'll have to get their house in order before the World Cup comes. Because in India, Pakistan is okay. But you also want both the teams to be playing at their best. That's when a contest is on. This time, instead of having India 72 for 4, that game got rained out, but I think India would have had got enough. Next time they played, rolled over. So Pakistan have a lot of work to do before they come into the World Cup. Because a World Cup, to win a World Cup, it's not about 1 or 2 games. Devashish close. He knows how difficult it is to win a World Cup, and not everybody who wins the World Cup, it's a joyride for them also. There are a lot of heartbreaks, a lot of ups and downs, and then you ultimately come and win the trophy.
Absolutely. So before we wrap up this session, final thoughts on the match, a dress rehearsal for Surya Kumar Yadav, especially that he was given a chance ahead of Sanju Samson, and which created a lot of buzz on the social media as well.
Yeah, Surya Kumar is one guy who needs to fire in this format because he has not done justice to his talent. He is a phenomenal player in the T20 format, but when it comes to one-day cricket, he did play that great knock against West Indies in that recently concluded series in West Indies. But having said that, he's been one or two now. He has not been consistent, and that has been his biggest drawback. Means obviously, and people in the team, especially the likes of Rahul Dravid and Rohit Sharma, consider him to be the X factor. But when you are considered as an X factor, you perform with the bat. Casting the opportunities you get, and then only you can cement your place in that batting order because with nail down, now striking from Ishan also getting runs. Where do you fit in? Where do you fit Surya Kumar Yadav if he does not score? He does not perform. So I think it's a great chance for Surya to make a statement with the bat. Perhaps a big knock it is a healthy competition to say. But then having said that, when you are in that side for the World Cup, you need to fight. But it's not about individual teams that can win the World Cup. It's a team that wins. It's a team that performs collectively as a unit, and then only you can win a World Cup. Obviously, that luck factor is always needs to be there. But for India, the biggest thing will be to win this match and win the final as well, and giving that confidence before heading into the World Cup.
Absolutely, I completely agree with Debashis here. Joyda, your final thoughts before we head inside the stadium to watch the India versus Bangladesh match. Any particular player, Surya Kumar Yadav, of course, will be on focus. You also said, Surya, you have been a big backer of Surya Kumar Yadav. Can he deliver this time around?
Yeah, I would just love to see Surya Kumar Yadav bat at 5 and 6. I know it might not happen because he's playing instead of Virat over here, and they don't want to mess with the rest of the batting. But for me, in 50 over cricket, I feel that batting at 3 is too early for Surya because he's a finisher. So in T20 cricket, when he bats in the eighth over, there's 12 overs to go. Here, when he bats in the eighth over, there's 42 overs to go. So there's a lot of cricket left in it. And ideally, I would have loved to see Nishan Kishan bat at 3, somebody like a KL bat at 4 and a Surya bat at 5. Because that for me is the ideal. I want him to be at the end, in the last 10 overs, maybe after 35. Because between 10 and 40, there are 5 fielders inside the circle, so 4 outside. So, maybe after 30, 35 overs. So I would have loved to see that, but I can understand that not happening because you don't want to tinker with the rest of the batting because you want Ishan to get used to whether he's going to bat in the final, KL to bat whether he's going to bat in the final. So there are, and it's a great opportunity. Surya is a fantastic player as far as I'm concerned. He has not done well in one day cricket. He's admitted that himself, but it's a great opportunity to get that right.
Score prediction, Joyda. How much can Bangladesh post?
Uh, 245.
245. Debashi? Okay, he's not willing to do. So we'll wrap up this session for now. We'll be back with the post-match reactions and it's much more from here in Colombo before the big finale of Asia Cup. Thank you, Joyda. Thank you, Debashish, for joining for this chat, and we'll be back again after the match. Thank you.
Thanks, boys. Enjoy the game.